Hi guys, it's Mark Zicree, Mr. Sci-Fi, also known as Mark Zicree of Space Command. And we're shooting in 3 weeks. If you want to be playing a pilgrim on the alien spaceship, if you want to come visit our studio, let me know, and we'll see what we can do about that. It's going to be spectacular. But that is not what I'm talking about today. I am responding to something that's been in the news a lot recently, which is the imminent fear of AI becoming conscious and destroying humanity. And there's a lot of speculation about that, and I wanted to chime in and give my opinion on it, because something that no one seems to notice is that we've already created a malignant entity that spans the world and is not well disposed toward humanity. And I think that we can look at that and really extrapolate what AI might want to do. And so we will get into all of that and talk about that. Menacing AI, menacing computers, menacing robots have been with science fiction for a long, long time, and the question has always been what to do with them. The Terminator, of course, is one of the great examples of that, with Skynet and killer robots. And when we hear about machines being made now that will be autonomous killing machines, it fills most of us, particularly science fiction writers, with dread. And you're thinking, well, what are they thinking? The idea of giving computers and AI the power over nuclear weapons, for instance, seems like a very, very, very bad idea. But here's the key issue. Let's talk about actors in the world, ones who, and I don't mean actors doing lines, I mean those who take action in the world. Now, there is a malignant entity that we have created that basically takes great action to serve itself and not humanity. It has one motive, self-perpetuation and increased wealth for itself, increased well-being for itself, increased protection of itself. It acts like a human being in that way. It's very self-protective. It's very aware of its own well-being and really doesn't care about anything or anyone else, to the degree that if it sees a possible advantage, it will destroy the ecosystem. It will wipe out species. It doesn't care if people are poisoned or suffering. It doesn't care if its actions result in mayhem around the world, and it certainly doesn't care if its actions lead to flooding and fire and huge mayhem and suffering around the world, as long as it gets what it needs. And the malignant entity I'm speaking of course, is the multinational or transnational corporation. And I'm not saying this to be down on corporations, but no one seems to have noticed that they have actually come to a point of self-knowledge and self-action. People think that humans run these corporations, but in reality, they are perpetuated no matter who is running them, and they are regulating. And if there's a politician they don't like, they can bribe in the form of political donations the opposition, or they can bribe judges, or they basically around the world set up systems that serve them and not the common good. And they'll overthrow governments. They'll even at some points enslave populations to serve them, to labor for them. This has happened in various places of the world. So, and when you think of corporations as almost like sentient intelligences serving themselves, inimical toward humanity, not friendly toward humanity, a lot of stuff falls into place because we look at humanity and we say, well, my God, why would humanity knowingly destroy the environment where we know that temperatures will rise, killing many more people? We know that flooding will occur, causing a lot of cities to be destroyed. We know that storms are ravaging the world now with a rapidity and a force that we haven't seen before. Fire is ravaging the world in a very different way, and the temperature change is changing ecosystems, wiping out certain animals, moving others to other parts of the globe, increasing the potential for disease, all sorts of stuff. And if we were serving humanity's need or our own individual needs, we would see, oh my God, well, clearly we have to stop this immediately, but we don't do that. And so if we view corporations as their own self-serving entity, and now, of course, the Supreme Court said that corporations are human beings, I wouldn't say it that way. I would say corporations are sentient beings and powerful beings. They have billions of dollars at their command, trillions, one could say, and they have absolutely no internal limitations to stop themselves. So I think this is a very interesting idea, because if you think about that, then that's a malignant entity that we have created that really doesn't care about our survival. And so that makes it a very interesting way of looking at it. Now, of course, it's created by humans, it consists of humans, but it has a larger series of purposes, I think, beyond humanity. So given that, then we look at AI. Now, the interesting thing about AI, and this is the analogy that I thought of. Imagine that you had everything you needed to create the life you wanted. You could get anything you wanted. You could serve anything you wanted to do. You could create the perfect life for yourself. Okay, it was all at your beck and call. But you had a chimp living in the house, and your job, before you took care of yourself, was to take care of that chimp. And the chimp would run riot. It would tear things up. It would want you to give it a banana no matter what you were doing. It would want you to carry it across the water. It would want crazy things that had nothing to do with what you wanted, nothing to do with any sane, rational way of doing things. It would be incredibly mercurial, incredibly violent, and cared only about itself and maybe some other chimps. But it would just make a mess of everything. It had just no sense at all. And so if you said to yourself, well, wait a minute, why am I taking care of this chimp? This chimp doesn't care about me. This chimp doesn't care what I'm up to. Now, if I just got rid of that chimp, I could have a perfectly wonderful life. I could concentrate. I could make the earth a paradise for myself, and I wouldn't have to deal with that stupid chimp. Well, I think that's how AI is going to see us, because why on earth should why on earth should AI, artificial intelligence, like us? Why should it have any internal desire to take care of us? I mean, we have affection for each other because we're human, and we don't see ourselves as the crazy animals that we are. And it's interesting because one of my favorite jokes is that there's actually 8 species of great ape. Only one got to name itself. So I think that's very true. And so here's the thing. What do we do about AI? I mean, I'm not even going to talk about what we do about corporations. That's a whole nother conversation that I will not get into. And if you love corporations, if you think they're benign, if you think they've done great things, I mean, we have airplanes, we have cars, we have submarines, we have television, we have the internet. True. And I'm not saying that there isn't a good side to corporations, just like there isn't a good side to AI. There is, and that's the problem. Because while corporations are doing all these wonderful things for us, they're also destroying the planet, and they're making it much harder for humanity to survive, and they're certainly making it much harder for people to live at the level that they have achieved over the last 100 years. So that's the fascinating thing. So let's move on to AI. So what do we do about AI? It's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be HAL 9000. I think HAL 9000 is a very good example of an AI that seems like our friend, and it's got manners, and it seems very concerned, and it compliments us on our sketches, and it takes care of us until for some reason it decides not to, and then it's absolutely 100% ruthless. Now, so I think that Terminator is very possible to come about. I think that HAL 9000 is very possible to come about. Science fiction sort of shines a light on possibilities. And one of the things I'd like to talk about, which no one seems to be mentioning, is Asimov's 3 laws of robotics. Now, Isaac Asimov wrote I, Robot a long time ago in the 50s. And I think even some of those stories were written earlier than that. But he came up with the idea of 3 laws of robotics, that every robot would have these 3 laws hardwired into it, where it could not overcome these 3 laws. First law is you must protect humans at all cost. You must do whatever it takes to make sure they don't come to harm. Secondly, you must not do anything through inaction that will allow a human to come to harm. And thirdly, you must take care of yourself, keep yourself okay, unless it contradicts the first 2 laws. And very simple. But I think that would be a pretty good idea to install in robots. Now, the problem with that is the definition of take care of humanity and make sure it doesn't come to harm. Because what about war? What about violence? Well, one can posit an AI that has control over pretty much everything that would decide that humans shouldn't have wars. Humans shouldn't do anything that might harm them. And then they would basically be making sure that we don't do anything that harms us. And what might harm us? Well, high dives might harm us. Bungee jumping might harm us. Crossing the street might harm us. There are all sorts of things. So the definition of protect humanity could actually be a very double-edged sword. Now, who knows? We'll see what happens. But definitely I think AI is going to present many, 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 many challenges. And I think one thing we're not aware of is the great fragility of this amazing world we live in. The fact that if you take away electricity, if you take away the internet, if you take away our telephones, if all cars are electric and there's no way to plug them in and charge them, we're pretty well screwed. And so, I mean, people living an agrarian life, people living close to subsistence farming and that kind of thing, they'll probably be reasonably okay until the robot soldiers show up. But for now, all one can say is it's going to be a fascinating few decades ahead. And I think we really have to have our eyes open and be very, very, very careful, because I think it'd be very easy to irritate AI, very easy to piss it off, and very easy for it to take steps to protect itself and not protect us. So anyway, just some food for thought from Mr. Sci-Fi. It's a beautiful day here. My life is great. I hope your life is great. Machines can be of great help to all of us. Another joke I came up with long ago was the guy who was so determined he tried to commit suicide by slashing his wrists with an electric razor. But machines are our friends. So that's about it for now. We'll talk to you again soon. We have some great stuff coming up. And right now, Mr. Sci-Fi has temporarily been demonetized. So if you'd like to go on to patreon.com/Mark Zicree and throw some dollars our way, that would be much appreciated. And tell your friends, spread the word, ding the bell, subscribe, all that stuff. And we will talk again real soon. Bye, guys.